Hi again, everyone. Scott Pyre, Pop Cult fan here. I am actually recording this after midnight. How fitting, considering this is a review about a ghost movie. Uh, so, yeah, I wanted to do this mainly because after I did my review for Agatha All Along, I was thinking, we're getting into spooky seasons. Time to start watching either horror films or movies that get you into the Halloween spirit. So I was thinking, Casper? I just got that in my head, and I decided to rewatch Casper: A Spirited Beginning. And now, this movie, I have an interesting history with this movie in particular because I grew up with it similar to the original film. A Spirited Beginning was a movie that I actually enjoyed more than the original film when I was younger. But, upon rewatch as an adult, I still prefer. As I think the original film is better in regards to quality, because this movie, A Spirited Beginning, it was made direct to video, so it wasn't released to theaters, and it shows. It shows because some of the CG for the ghosts, especially in the opening couple minutes of the film, you could tell it's CG. I mean, I know it's the 1990s when this movie was made. This movie came out in 1997, and I mean, at that time, we had a really good CG movies, like with Toy Story, for example. And I know this is direct to video, so they didn't have the budget that the original theatrical film did, and as was, as a result of that, it shows. But I enjoy this movie, like, even as an adult, because I like the lead character of Chris and his dad. I like Chris and his friendship with Casper. I like that dynamic between those two throughout the film. And I will admit that not all of the acting is that great. I think some of the acting can come off a bit cartoonish, especially from this one character who's like this army guy, who sets up a bomb inside the mansion, and that guy was a very cartoonish character, and I just didn't didn't really didn't like it, I guess, because he just came off as this cartoonish villain, and he was a human, not a ghost. So there is that. But you know, speaking of the things that I really like about this movie, still as an adult, is that I liked the voice cast. I was looking it up. It's different voice cast from the original film. It's different actors voicing Fatso, Stretch, and Stinky, but they sounded similar. I could have sworn it was the same actors, but I looked it up and it wasn't the same actors. But there is one other character in this movie that I need to address because I was not expecting to do this review, honestly, because you know I still, sad about James Earl Jones and his passing. I was not expecting to do this review because James Earl Jones actually voiced the character of Kibosh in this film. And that's another thing about this movie that I don't get, because this movie was panned by critics. I don't think it's terrible. I mean, I don't think it's great either, but I do think that this movie was influential in a sense that the character of Kibosh continued to reappear in Casper cartoons later on, and became like a main antagonist to the Casper and his uncles in other forms of animation. I think like some TV direct-to-video animated films, as well as some shows. So the character of Kibosh came back after this, and this was his debut in this film. And just the fact that James Earl Jones voiced him, I can tell, but there was also a little bit of a difference in that voice that felt a little bit different compared to, say, Darth Vader or Mufasa, but I could still tell it was him, and I liked that voice cast there. I thought that was brilliant. And also, Another thing about this movie that is worth noting is there are some things in this movie that don't line up within the continuity of the original film. And, you know, it's a prequel, and prequels do that sometimes. They don't always fit into the same continuity as an original property. You know, that happens. And, you know, I didn't mind it. You know, I noticed it, but I didn't mind it. It just felt like its own thing that I still enjoy, even compared to the original. So there's all that, you know, and also I like the human cast. You know, I don't think I've seen them before or after this movie. I know I've seen a couple of them before, but yeah, I liked the actor that played Chris. You know, the boy. I thought he was great. And you know, the actor that played his dad, I thought he was okay. But you know, there's this whole thing throughout the film where Chris's dad is just so focused on his job, and I could tell he doesn't care about his job very much, but he's just so focused with it, and he's just dealing with a lot with his job, and as a result of that, he's not paying too much attention to Chris, and eventually, you know, and all of that is made up by the end. You know, they're hugging it out. You know, the movie has a happy ending, and being a prequel film, you know, Casper creates that moniker of Casper the Friendly Ghost as a name for himself, and you know, haunts that mansion with his uncles by the end. And I like it for that. You know, I think this is an enjoyable film. It's not great, it's not terrible either. I'd say it's about average. You know, I like the music, especially the opening credit sequence. I love that rendition of the song. I love it. I think that's another reason why part of me likes this movie a little bit more back then compared to the original, because I loved that rendition of the theme song. I thought it was great. So yeah, those are all my thoughts about this movie. Considering that the character himself, Casper, was I didn't realize how old this character was, by the way. He was originally introduced in the 1940s, in 1945 to be exact, which means that next year, 2025, is the 80-year anniversary of the Casper franchise as a whole, because Casper was first introduced in 1945. Wow, really old. So, speaking of, I think maybe not this year, but next year, I will review Casper Meets Wendy around this time next year as a way of capping off my series of reviews for the live-action Casper movies. So while also celebrating the 80-year anniversary of the character by reviewing Casper Meets Wendy next year by this time. So yes, that should do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna go to bed after this because it's past midnight. So alright guys, take care and have a great night, and see you all next time. Peace.